Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone. Welcome back to the ultimate clash of logic versus ideology. Today we watch delusional Wokies get utterly destroyed by MAGA supporters in ways that are equal parts shocking and hilarious. First up, a campus activist who thinks the solution to opposing views is banning them.
That's not actually embarrassing. Wait, why are you against, wait, hold up. Why are you against people having a different ideological viewpoint than you?
I'm not against it.
You're a fascist! Fascist! Fascist!
Wait, why are we silent? Can you let her speak, right?
That's fascism. That's literal fascism. That's literal fascism. That's literal fascism.
You wanna go, Ms.
Are you gonna let me talk? You're on an overly liberal.
She wanted to talk.
Hey, you ever heard of free speech?
Yes.
Yeah, we
You heard of the First Amendment? Yes, we do. This is it right now.
Oh, God.
No one wants to listen to
Okay.
your speech.
So walk away. You got AirPods on. Walk away. Walk away. Instead of having a mental breakdown, walk away. You have the freedom to do that.
The campus Wokie treats opinions like contagious diseases. Just being near one might ruin her worldview. Meanwhile, the MAGA guy offers the wildest, most dangerous idea ever. Let people think differently. She rejects it instantly. Imagine being this allergic to other perspectives. Next, a woke knight lectures a conservative woman on real men, but forgets she brought logic to the duel.
I will say, I will compliment you. You're a very pretty mouthpiece, all right? But you are a mouthpiece for a fascist regime. You are a mouthpiece for
What is a fascist?
Let me speak, please. All right.
Good.
You are a
I'm not a
mouthpiece
fascist, so
for
let you speak. You think that I just really want to control women's bodies?
Yeah. So I remember. I want to ask again. I want to ask the crowd again. All the men in the crowd here. A real man stands up for social justice. A real man
Defends children in the womb from being
A
slaughtered
real
by
man
abortion. Let me get this straight. You are a man coming here
I
and
am
saying
a man.
that you're pro-women and I'm anti-women, and you're calling me a pretty mouthpiece, and you claim to be the side of women?
Of course I am.
Do you care about the women hurt and killed by abortion? Do you care about the women who regret their abortion? Do you care about the women in the womb who are killed every single day by the thousands by the abortion industry that does not care about women and cares about profiting off of vulnerable women that killed their children? Do you care about those women? What about these women in the womb? What
I
about
care
them?
about the women in my community.
Do you care about them?
I care about her and her and her here.
Do you care
I
about
don't
the
care.
ones that were hurt by abortion?
What do you mean by that?
There are so many women that regret their abortion. I had a girl come up to me crying after one of my tour stops saying that she regretted her abortion, that she has suffered for years in silence and has been told that she should feel empowered by it, but that she is hurt by it. Do you care about those women? Do you care about the ones hurt by abortion?
Absolutely I do. And you know what? And you know, hey, I'll give you that one, all right? Women regret abortion.
This guy lectures a woman on women's health while ignoring the small detail that unborn girls exist too. He demands real men care about women, but somehow not the ones in the womb or the ones harmed by abortion. It's activism powered entirely by selective compassion and zero consistency. Meanwhile, a protest grandma who came armed with one word, fascist, and zero follow-up.
Why are you out here today? We're conservative, but we're just asking people why they're protesting today.
Well, because the Supreme Court is essentially stacked by a fascist president. It's called Donald Trump.
What should we do about it?
Overturning, get him out.
Okay, get him out. Impeach him or get rid of him?
Absolutely. But, impeach him again and again and again. Get him out. He's dangerous. He's a fascist. He ticks off all the boxes of fascism.
Okay. Well, what about the fact that you guys can protest like this today? If he was a fascist, wouldn't he shut it down?
Don't you know that he instructed the U.S. military to shoot previous protesters in his former administration in the legs? Do you not remember that?
I don't think he's doing that. You guys are protesting right now.
I think we're trying to stop him.
Do you think the Democratic Party is going to be able to depose him?
With some help from a lot of people becoming aware of what's going on in this country.
Is the Democrats doing a good job? Like, who do you think's the leader of the Democrats right now?
We're working on it.
It's always inspiring watching someone protest a crisis they can't explain. She declares the government fascist, Trump apocalyptic, and the courts corrupt, then freezes when asked who should run the country. Apparently the plan is still in progress, along with the reasoning behind her sign. Then we meet a woman who chooses illegal immigrants over homeless veterans because math and morality apparently took the day off.
Protect illegal immigrants or protect homeless veterans?
Illegal immigrants.
Why?
Because America was built off illegal immigrants and immigrants coming into this country. And I feel like they should have rights too, just like everybody else.
But they're illegal.
Well, there's a system to get them legal, so there's still people at the end of the day who treat everybody with respect and care. They're nothing different than you.
The veterans fought for the country, though.
Yes, but your homelessness is not something that other people should be paying for. And, you know, manage your money correctly, and you won't be homeless.
This woman's moral compass spins faster than a ceiling fan. Illegal immigrants? Absolute priority. Homeless veterans? Manage your money better. Amazing how empathy becomes unlimited for people who just arrived, but hits a brick wall the moment it's someone who actually served the country she's standing in. Now, a MAGA guy politely asks protesters why they never blame Democrats and watches them malfunction in real time.
You guys never protest Democrats, and the Democrat Party is destroying your state right now, and you guys don't come out here and protest that. Do you know what the Democrats are doing to Oregon?
I'm not a Democrat. I don't have to be a Democrat to be unhappy with Trump.
No, for sure. But my question is, and this is I want you guys to focus on this question. Why don't you guys have a problem with what the Democrats are doing to Oregon? Do you realize how horrible Oregon is doing right now with taxes?
You're using the phrase "you guys" as if we're all in some block.
But where's the protest against the Democrats who are destroying our state? Our homelessness is not getting better. Our drug problem is not getting better. Our education is a disaster. We are literally ranked among the bottom. Our kids are failing. Where is the protest for that?
Their premium went up 44%. That's Trump.
No, listen. You're not listening to what I'm saying. The Democrats are in charge of Oregon. This is the problem. What about the Democrats passing a $4.3 billion new tax bill? See, this is what you guys do. You guys walk away. You can't answer the questions.
I've just lived here 2 months.
I mean, he's giving me more answers right now than you are.
She's running.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is you guys don't hold Democrats accountable here. I wish you would.
I just moved here, and I don't know much about local politics.
Well, maybe you should, because what the Democrats are doing to Oregon is tragic. It's tragic what the Democrat Party is. And I'm okay that you guys are protesting this. What I'm not okay with is the silence against the Democrat Party that is destroying this state and what they're doing to Oregon.
That's your opinion.
That's not my opinion. It's fact, actually. I just named off. Okay, so what's an opinion about kids failing?
Let's talk about homelessness.
Okay, let's talk about that.
What would be your solution for the problem of homelessness?
Not what they're doing now, which is just decriminalizing drugs and just allowing people to just go unchecked and rehab. Nope, these homeless people. I worked next to the homeless for years. Okay, I know these people.
What would you do?
We have to have a balanced approach of compassion, but also holding them accountable through the law.
How?
So if the homelessness, open drug use in Portland and camping hurting businesses, we rehabilitate them through the justice system. That's what's worked before.
Private prisons.
Not private. I didn't say private prisons. I said. So you're putting words in my mouth because you want to prove yourself right. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Because our homelessness, Portland State University just did a study that homelessness has gone up 67%. Do you guys not care about that? You just asked me about that. You must.
The reason is just because.
No, that's because we're decriminalizing drugs. That's not because of the economy. That's because the solutions that the Democrats keep giving don't work, and you guys don't say anything. Where's your side?
You asked me a question, but then you didn't listen.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
My answer is that when you increase supportive services for the homeless, more homeless come to the area.
The MAGA guy brings real issues: homelessness skyrocketing, failed policies, actual experience helping people, and the protesters respond with blank stares and buzzwords. One even suggests supporting homeless people creates more of them. Incredible. When ideology replaces thinking, compassion becomes a math error. Next clip, a liberal tries to explain Trump's underlying crime without actually knowing the underlying crime.
You cannot reason with this level of nonsense.
So you want accountability for criminals?
Yes.
Then why would you support a 34-count felon?
Trump was not legitimately charged with any crime.
That's your opinion.
It's a fact.
Did he not make up and falsify business records?
Who was accused of it?
He didn't break the law?
Perhaps,
so
maybe.
in your opinion, perhaps
maybe. No. Okay, stop. Donald Trump was accused of falsification of business records by instructing a lower staffer we don't know he actually instructed, all because of Cohen making a claim about paying Stormy Daniels. This cannot be upgraded to a felony because it's what's called requiring an underlying crime. What was the underlying crime?
The problem I have...
Answer the question.
What was the underlying
Yes.
crime? 34 counts.
Of what?
Okay. Falsifying business records was
Underlying
one of
crime,
them.
name it.
I don't have it right in front of me.
There isn't one.
Okay, he was convicted in a court of law, Tim.
Oh my God.
What I know is that he was a 34-count felon convicted.
Oh my God.
I don't have the case right in front
You
of me.
don't know.
I don't have the case right in
You
front
are
of
in
me.
a cult.
I'm
You
in
are a
cult?
cultist.
How am I a
Yes.
cultist?
You don't know what you're talking about, and
I
you're
don't know what I'm
zealously
talking-
arguing for it.
It starts strong with big words like felon and falsified records, but collapses the moment facts enter the chat. The MAGA guy simply asks for the underlying crime, and suddenly the liberals' memory evaporate. Then a woman solves constitutional law with the groundbreaking idea, just send the California National Guard.
Every second just gets worse.
When you're talking about Donald Trump, he has the same exact powers that Joe Biden had before him.
What about the bullshit that the Supreme Court ruled that he cannot be held responsible for specific illegal acts that he committed?
Well, look, this was early understanding of case law with the president. A state that's upset at the president could bring him in for bullshit, trumped up charges, and he's the federal executive. That would create a constitutional crisis. We have diplomatic immunity for diplomats. Our own president doesn't have immunity from state prosecution. Yeah, he kind of has to. Otherwise, California Governor Newsom right now would bring him up on charges of treason if he could.
W. Love that. I hope he does.
Okay, well, then why shouldn't the president have the ability to do that to Gavin Newsom?
He could. So I think we need to be able to hold our leaders
great.
accountable and
You
not
would end
put
up-
too much power in their hands, because I am against authoritarianism.
So let's say California does that. How does California enforce that?
We could send the National Guard and start a civil war. The California National Guard, but that would be treason.
Her solution to rogue states inventing charges is California sending troops. Incredible. Why read the Constitution when you can cosplay as Commander-in-Chief? The MAGA guy's head drop wasn't frustration, it was mourning. Up next, a liberal accidentally agrees with a MAGA woman after realizing asylum law didn't read her script.
Watch how quickly she backpedaled.
ICE has detained people at their court hearings. They show up to court, they're following the law, they want to make their case, and then they get snatched up and deported.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think the counter argument is that these are undocumented immigrants who shouldn't have been on U.S. soil in the first place. People have every right to make an asylum claim, but they don't have every right to make an asylum claim in the United States. Under international law, you make an asylum claim in the first country you arrive. If there are 7 countries between the United States and your country, you don't skip all the 6 countries in between just to pick the United States.
Yeah. I actually think that's a good argument.
The liberal woman starts with the classic emotional argument, but the moment the MAGA woman cites asylum law, her entire script collapses. Suddenly she mutters, "It's a good argument," like she wasn't prepared for logic to show up today. A rare case of honesty slipping out. Meanwhile, a liberal insists men can get pregnant until biology taps out of the conversation completely.
My 2-year-old son came up to me the other day. I went back home to the UK, and he said, "Daddy, I'm going to have a baby." And I said, "Zach, you can't have a baby because you're a boy. You're a man. You can't have babies." And he said, "Well, I'm going to be a girl. I want to be a girl." What would you have said to him if you were me?
Well, I wouldn't have said, "Zach, you're a boy and boys can't have babies," because that's absolutely not true. So, I mean, I don't know what your parenting is like.
And you don't think think boys can have babies?
You mean males?
Yes.
Yes.
You think males? Sorry, you think males can have babies?
Yes.
Right.
Do you want me to explain?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So transgender males have a womb, a uterus, and ovaries. Okay, so they were born, if you like, female, but they actually identify as male. So we refer to them as males. They have ovaries, a womb, a uterus, a vagina, and that means you can carry a baby.
Transgender males being women.
Well, that's extremely disrespectful to transgender males. I don't.
Well, they are women, aren't they? They're biological women.
They are males.
Well, if they're males,
what do you mean by biological women?
Hang on a minute. If they're males, why do you call them transgender males? Why put transgender in the?
Transgender is an adjective.
Right, but if they just call them males, then why do you call them transgender males?
No problem at all.
So you're changing that now?
No, I'm not changing that. You said can males have babies, and I said yes, males can have babies.
Well, all over your website, you refer to transgender women, transgender males. If these people are genuinely male and female, why do you call them transgender?
Well, why do we use adjectives for anything? If you're clarifying, if you're teaching somebody like I'm teaching you now, you need to clarify. And there you go.
So instead of this is interesting. So instead of telling my 2-year-old son, as I did, "Zach, you can't have kids. you're a boy.
I think that's sad.
You think that's sad?
I do. I think if my son,
do you know what it did? Do you know what it did? He said, "Oh, okay, Daddy, that's fine." And the next day he said, "Daddy, I'm Spider-Man." Do you want me to entertain that conversation and say, "Well, Zach, maybe you are
What do you say?
Spider-Man"?
Oh God, no, you're not Spider-Man. Oh God, Zach, you can't be a girl. God, Zach, you can't be Spider-Man. Or can't we just let children explore? 2 is an amazing age to explore. Why aren't we letting our children explore? I actually feel sorry for Zach right now.
Oh, well, sorry. Okay, well, I don't, because Zach has never mentioned becoming a girl again.
This conversation feels like falling down a rabbit hole where definitions shapeshift every 5 seconds. A boy can't have babies? Disrespectful? A biologically female person calling herself male? Totally a man. Her outrage is louder than the logic. Next, Damon Imani witnesses a liberal praising apologies while forgetting she helped create the mess.
I will tell you, I was shocked when she was here. I thought, maybe a pod person was sitting here and Marjorie Taylor Greene, the real one, was in somebody's base. But I give her credit for saying, I took part in some of that toxicity, and I apologize.
Absolutely.
That takes a big person to do that.
Well, look, some of Marjorie's criticism of the administration, like the Israel lobby and the Epstein files, is reasonable. That being said, her, a Republican, apologizing to the same liberal media that for years slandered and vilified the Republican Party, the Republican president, the Republican voters is objectively insane. And you saying that you give her credit for apologizing for taking part in the toxicity. You created the toxicity by time after time comparing Trump and his voters to Hitler, Nazis, and fascists. So let me ask you, when are you going to apologize?
So this woman praises Marjorie for apologizing to the same media that spent years torching her party. Damon Imani hits the nail on the head. Why applaud someone for feeding the wolves? If anyone owes an apology, it's the people who lit the fire in the first place. Then Damon Imani crashes a celebration by reminding everyone that redefining marriage was only the first stop on the cultural roller coaster.
The Supreme Court just turned down the request to consider overturning, saying they said no, we're not doing that. We're not going there. So thank you, Supreme Court. I say this to you guys all the time. Sometimes they do stuff I love, and sometimes they annoy the
We're even having this conversation in 2025 blows my mind.
It is insane.
Well, the reason these conversations are still alive is because common sense is still alive. Look, marriage is a religious institution. In the Christian worldview, which shaped the entire West, it is a patriarchal, God-ordained covenant between a man and a woman oriented toward procreation, family, and societal order. Now, they decided to undermine this entire framework and redefine it for unions, symptom of feminism, by the way, a symptom of secular humanism and cultural suicide that erodes nuclear family and Christian ethics, which, by the way, has taken us into this slippery slope of moral relativism like transgenderism, prostitution, and outside wedlock. Now, with that being said, the reason people push for marriage is ultimately for government benefits. Okay? That's why I don't think government should be in the business of marriage at all, because they have hijacked a religious institution and turned it into a welfare program.
They cheer the Supreme Court, but Damon Imani reminds them what they're actually cheering: the unraveling of an institution rooted in faith. He points out how changing definitions leads to that modern buffet of anything goes ethic. Up next, an angry protester who can't explain abortion limits but can yell at the wrong woman.
Yeah. So don't stand here and talk to me about women's rights. Don't even.
I'm
you
also
don't have
a woman.
Any reason.
I do,
You
because
don't
I have
every
2
reason.
children.
But your belief is that you should have to carry that child and raise that child.
No,
and
I don't.
disagree
I
with
didn't
you.
say that. I said that a woman
But
should
you're
not be
there
allowed.
to help them. You're not there to help them
I would
when
love
they
to
need the
actually
help.
be able to tell you what
You
I
drop
believe
them.
instead
You
of.
drop them.
So, what are you doing for children in the foster care system?
I take care of. I belong to CARE. It helps women and children. It feeds them. I donate monthly to that.
Okay, good.
Yes.
How much do you donate?
Isn't that your business?
That's always the answer that I get when I ask for that. So what I believe, and tell me, when should we have a deadline for abortion then? When would it be okay for a woman to take the life of her unborn child? How old would the child have to be?
Why is it your right to even question that?
Yeah, because I'm an American citizen, and I believe that laws.
Business, though.
Okay, do you believe what's happening to the illegal immigrants in Alligator Alcatraz is okay?
No, it's not.
Okay, but you're not an illegal immigrant. You don't have anything to do with that. So, but you care. But you're fighting for them. I'm fighting.
The old protester is furious that someone dared to ask a basic question about abortion limits. Apparently having an opinion means minding your own business. Unless the topic is illegal immigration, then she's suddenly the spokesperson. And finally, a councilwoman demands LAPD warn illegal immigrants before ICE raids. It gets rejected faster than her own idea.
What can your department do to do more to warn us, to warn the business community that outside of our LA borders, coming in from Inglewood, coming in from Antelope Valley, I don't know, you can warn us so that we can warn our folks in the spirit of your loyalty to the city of Los Angeles?
Well, you're asking me to warn you about an enforcement action being taken by another agency before it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Why not?
That would be obstruction of justice. You may want to talk to the city attorney about that.
This councilwoman's plan sounds more like a thought experiment than governance. Expecting police to tip off people about federal raids ignores legal reality and operational purpose. It's a nice moral gesture, but law enforcement doesn't run on good intentions. They run on rules, consequences, and avoiding being sued. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Woke Chaos versus MAGA Reality. If you loved watching logic wreck overconfidence, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop your favorite meltdown in the comments below.